They called it a curse. The people of the bayou had another word for it. They called it justice. Long before Waylon Jones became the monster known as Killer Croc, there was a legend whispered through the swamps of Louisiana, a legend that the locals knew well, passed down through generations, spoken only at night when the cypress trees cast long shadows across the water. The story begins 300 years ago, in a small settlement on the edge of the Atchafalaya Basin. A man named Marshing was the wealthiest landowner in the region. He had built his fortune on the backs of others, exploiting workers, stealing land from indigenous tribes, and poisoning the very waters that gave the swamp its life. He was, by all accounts, a terrible person. But the swamp has a memory. And the swamp has guardians? The Chitimacha people spoke of a spirit that dwelled in the deepest parts of the basin. They called it the Scaled One, a creature as old as the cypress roots, with the body of a man and the skin of an alligator. It was said this spirit protected the balance of the swamp, punishing those who took too much. Marchand didn't believe in spirits. That was his first mistake. His second mistake was draining a sacred pool to expand his property. The pool had been there for centuries, fed by underground springs that the Chitimacha believed connected the world of the living to something far older. On the night the pool was emptied, Marchand threw a celebration. He invited every wealthy family in the region to witness his triumph over the wilderness. The party lasted until dawn. But when the sun rose, Marchand was different. His skin had begun to harden, to scale. His eyes had shifted, pupils narrowing into vertical slits. By noon, he couldn't speak, going to hiss. By nightfall, he had fled into the very swamp he had tried to destroy. No one ever saw him again, but they heard things. Splashes in the night. Screams from travelers who ventured too deep. And always the locals would say the same thing. The Scaled One had claimed another vessel. Now, here's where the legend gets interesting. The curse didn't end with Marchand. According to the stories, the spirit's punishment extended through bloodlines. Anyone descended from those who had wronged the swamp would carry the potential for transformation. It lay dormant in most manifesting, as nothing more than rough skin or an unusual tolerance for humidity. But in some, it awakened fully. The transformation was said to be triggered by suffering. The more pain inflicted upon a carrier of the curse, the faster the change. The spirit fed on misery, using it as fuel to reshape the body into something more suited for the swamp's vengeance. And this is where Waylon Jones enters the picture. Waylon was born in Florida, but his family had roots in Louisiana. Deep roots. Roots that stretched back to the very settlement where Marchand had once lived. Whether his ancestors were Marchand's descendants, or simply others who had wronged the swamp, remains unclear. What is clear is that Waylon was born different. From the moment he emerged into the world, his skin was wrong, thick greenish, covered in what doctors described as a severe form of epidermolytic hyperkeratosis, a rare condition, they said. Genetic, they said. The locals in his grandmother's bayou village knew better. They recognized the signs, the scales, teeth that came in, sharp and numerous. The way his eyes seemed to catch the light differently than anyone else's. His grandmother, a woman who had grown up hearing the old stories, tried to warn his mother. She begged her to take the child to the Chitimacha elders to seek some kind of blessing or protection. But his mother didn't listen. That was her mistake. Waylon's early life was marked by cruelty. His appearance made him a target.
8.
People feared what they didn't understand, and what they feared, they tried to destroy. The abuse he suffered only accelerated what was already happening inside him. With each beating, his skin grew tougher. With each humiliation, his teeth grew sharper. With each rejection, something inside him that might have once been human retreated further into the darkness of the swamp spirit's embrace. By the time he was a young man, Waylon Jones was barely recognizable as human at all. Some say the transformation could have been stopped. The elders spoke of rituals that could appease the Scaled One, ceremonies that could redirect the curse's energy back into the swamp where it belonged. But these rituals required something Waylon never received: compassion. The curse feeds on pain, but it starves in the presence of kindness. Had anyone shown Waylon genuine love during those critical years, the legends suggest the transformation would have halted, as the spirit would have moved on, seeking a more suitable vessel. But no one did, and so the Scaled One found its perfect host, a man so broken by humanity that he was willing to abandon it entirely. A man whose rage matched the swamp's ancient grievances. A man who would become Killer Croc. The locals in Louisiana still tell the story. They say if you go deep enough into the Atchafalaya, past where the tour boats dare to venture, you can still hear him, not the monster from Gotham City, something older. The original scaled one, still waiting in the dark water. They say Waylon visits sometimes. Returns to the sacred pool that Marchand drained, which has long since refilled itself. He goes there not to escape Batman or the police, but to commune with whatever ancient thing first marked his bloodline for transformation. Is any of this true? The curse, the spirit, the 300-year-old legend? Probably not. But then again, Waylon Jones exists. His condition has no satisfactory medical explanation. And the swamp, well, the swamp has always kept its secrets. Some things, after all, are older than science, older than Gotham, older than anything we have words for. The scaled one knows this. Now so does Killer Croc.